Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Fertility. I'm your host, Monica Cox, and I am completely honored you are here with me, becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. We are fresh out of 20 plus 1 weeks of really taking it slow, taking radical responsibility, making sure we're completely aware of how we're actually patterning the energetics behind it, our thought patterns, your frequency, your emotions, behind the mundane, what's really going on. Because until you know that, it's really hard to change things, switch things up so you can see a difference. So you can actually make the radical change you want to make in your life, see the success that you want in your life. And that only really comes from doing things differently. And sometimes it is doing things slower, doing things with more awareness, not learning more, not doing more, not getting to the finish line quicker. So I really hope that this 20 plus weeks have been inspirational. If you fell off the wagon and you're like, oh my God, that was so boring. I'm glad we're moving on from that, Monica. Please go back and do it again. I am telling you, if you spend 20 weeks doing that podcast, so much can change in your life. Leading on from that 20 plus weeks and what I have deeply seen in like 90% of my clients is the death grip that I talk about all the time that we have on this journey. I know I had it, and I know almost 100% of people who are dealing with fertility issues have it at some point. You just have this death grip, and that if you let go, if you surrender, if you take a break, then that means you're giving up, that it's never going to happen. What if it was that month, like that I didn't take my supplements, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do the IVF? What if I waited 6 months too long? And through these conversations that I've been having, it kind of dawned on me that there was a time in my journey. And remember, I didn't have the consciousness that I have now during my journey. I was really figuring it out. And it was a very type A, overdoing, controlling everything on the functional side of things. That's how I gained the functional medicine knowledge that I have. This is why I know deeply about cellular health. My journey was a very physical journey. And it worked. I mean, it worked for me. I didn't have to do the conscious stuff that I'm teaching you guys here now. But I had to do it in motherhood and entrepreneurship. The patterns didn't just go away because I got what I wanted, becoming a mom or starting my own business. Um, they amplified like by 10,000%, and they got really loud. And my perfect type A, controlling, overdoing physical part of my journey, I was getting sick again. I was seeing symptoms. I wasn't happy. I had the perfect dream life that I would have killed for. I mean, literally would have killed for during the deep, dark days of infertility. I wasn't happy. When these conversations, I realized there was a moment. I was living in Lincolnshire, and I had two failed IVFs, a miscarriage. I was probably 6 years, like maybe the tail end of 5, 6 years into this journey. And I got a little bit of hope back because I finally got pregnant. But I mean, I was still bitter and frustrated and just like, man, is this ever going to work? And I was sitting in the sunlight in my dining room area, and I just had this clarity come over me, and these images of, you're going to be all right if you don't have kids. You're going to be fine. You're going to have this amazing life. From that point on, not, I kept showing up. I kept doing the diet. I kept healing my gut health. I kept slowing down. I kept being mindful. I definitely had a lot of mindset stuff going on then. I still showed up for myself. I still did IVF. I had an IVF baby after that. I had another miscarriage with the twins, and then I got pregnant naturally. I mean, the journey still continued, but I had this deep clarity that it was going to be okay if I didn't have kids. And now my understanding of what happened pretty naturally by kind of default, because my journey was so long and just at certain points, I was just so done with the BS. And I think that in these moments of clarity, your intuition, your discernment, your connection with, a higher self, whether that be your higher self, your spirit guides, God, plasma, like whatever we're connecting with, they're allowed to come in. In my conversation with my clients, they can't even get there to say that out loud, that it would be okay if I never had kids, or it would be okay if I didn't have a second, third, or fourth. And in that grip, that death grip, is some energetics that are absolutely blocking you from moving forward in more clarity, in more peace, in more harmony in this journey. And that's the ultimate goal. We're not trying to trick or convince our subconscious you won't have a child, or that you don't care if you don't have a child or another child. Goal around this is removing the fear that is keeping you stuck in overdoing, over control, that pattern around the possibility of it never happening. So your body, your nervous system, your fascia, your patterns can stop. And you can actually go into the rest of your journey enjoying life, enjoying yourself, being there. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be hard times. There's always going to be hard times in your life. There's no magic out there. There's no intuitive, there's no energy healing, there's no guru or modality that is going to negate anything bad ever happening. And so in this journey, we want to let go of that fear. It's okay to be uncertain. It's okay to be happy during these struggles. It's okay to want what your heart wants and still live your life, and get out of the victim mode, martyr mode, get out of these control patterns that are just keeping you stuck in what I call infertility hell, because it is. It is absolute hell to allow your life to revolve around this one experience. So what we want to move away from is this death grip attachment to having a child or multiple children, to peace and meaning, even if that child never comes. But here's the truth. For 90 to 90% of y'all, that child's gonna come, because your fertility is innate. And when you get out of your own way, after you've boosted your cellular health and you get out of your own way, get out of these control patterns, this fear, this grief, just this energy that bogs you down every single day. Even if it's you like pretend we're all really good at, I'm fine, it's okay. That's the goal, because a lot of us have wasted time. And that's just the facts. I mean, look, everything's a lesson. We got to do what we got to do. But with hindsight, my first 3 years of trying to conceive, it was never, ever going to work. Waste of time. First IVF, waste of time. It was never going to work. Second IVF, because I took that year to radically change so much of my cellular health and even my mindset and slowing down, showed me, hey, there's proof in this. Things are working, things are changing when I was told that they never could change. And so that opened the door. So if you do this work, this mundane, boring ass work, you will see things change so dramatically in your life that you're willing to keep going. And so this meditation, which is not just like a normal meditation, is inspired by a balance that I did in my Psych K training about birth and death. Birth and death are the most emotionally charged edges of the human experience. And I think that by doing this meditation, that polarity, that fear that we hold in this fertility identity thresh can be so powerful to so many women and can really radically change your journey. So let me give you a warning on this. This is not your typical meditation. This is really showing up for yourself. You're not going to just lay down and meditate. You got to be willing to show up with these emotions that scare the hell out of you. Because when you sit with those emotions, they can release, they get out of your body, they go. Or another way that I have heard it recently is that you become whole again inside. So you got to be like really ready to show up and face these big emotions around the fear and the uncertainty and this like death grip that we have around having a child or another child. You have to be ready to surrender, to let this go, knowing that it's still in your heart, that you're still going to show up for yourself and do the physical things, maybe the medical assistance, but with more empowerment, with more discernment, with less time urgency, less fear. This meditation is for those really, truly done with the BS. You're going to also need to muscle test for yes and no, because when I do this in facilitation, when I'm guiding you through a meditation like this, I muscle test on your behalf. So the first thing we want to do before we get started is I want you to sit and become aware of your whole body. I want you to be radically honest. Are you ready for this? If I was facilitating this for someone, I would ask, is it safe and appropriate to balance for this now? Meaning using this meditation, are you ready for it? When I get a no, that means there's this underlining issue. And we discover what may be emotional blocks we need to clear before we go into this meditation, what subconscious belief that we're holding on to that's blocking us. What is it that we need to release before we open Pandora's box? So sit with yourself for a few minutes and really feel in to the feeling of, am I going to allow myself to say out loud, it's okay if I don't have a child? I'm going to be more than okay. I can have a beautiful life without the expectations that I have put on my family's outcome, meaning one child. I've worked with several clients who want 4 children. If you are getting like a hard no, like I am not prepared for that, then you definitely should jump into at least the Fertile Energetics Journal, which I'll link down in the bio, and start getting into the energetic and the mindset shifts in there, the storylines, and just shifting a few things before you do this meditation. If you are like, I'm ready, I am so done living my life on whether or not I get pregnant every single month. And I'm at the point where I am more than okay with letting this go and living my life now and leaving the door wide open for the family of my dreams. So like I said, I muscle test on behalf of my clients when I'm doing these activations. You have to really use your intuition, muscle test if the activation is complete. If you are ready, then here we go. We're first going to activate the thymus center. The thymus gland is considered by some to be a key energy center in the body and primary distribution center for life force energy. It is located just below the neck on the midline of your body. To activate the thymus center, close your eyes and concentrate on this area of the thymus. Breathe into this center and imagine it being filled with energy during each inhalation. Continue this process for about a minute or until you sense the thymus center is activated. Next, we're going to activate the hara point. The hara point is a theoretical point approximately 2 inches below and behind the navel in the center of your body. It is the energetic midpoint of the body, top to bottom, side to side, and front to back. Imagine this point as an energy vortex, kind of like a black hole. Any undesirable feelings and thoughts may be sent to the hara point for transformation and release. To activate the hara point, close your eyes and concentrate on the area of the hara. Breathe into the center and imagine it being filled with energy during each inhalation. Continue for about a minute or until you sense the hara point is activated. Now we are going to connect the thymus center and the hara point, sending your breath between the thymus center and the hara point by inhaling, energizing into the thymus center, and exhaling, releasing to the hara point to establish this connection between the two areas. Continue for about a minute or until you sense the connection is complete. Energize, release. Energize, release. Energize, release. As we continue our breath and alternating between the thymus center and the hara point, when you are ready, remember or imagine the moment of desire for a child when it first entered your life. This could be a childhood dream of being a mother, watching others have children, the moment you decided you wanted a family, the moment you began trying to conceive, the moment fertility became an important goal. Allow yourself to access the thoughts, emotions, hopes, and expectations connected to this moment. Send any distressful thoughts or feelings to the hara point for transformation and release. Continue breathing between the thymus and the hara until you feel a sense of peace and non-attachment regarding to the beginning of your motherhood journey. Now we're going to identify and access the fertility journey from that moment to the present. Continue breathing between the thymus center and the hara point. When you are ready, allow your mind to move through the entire journey from the moment you desired a child until today. This can be the months or years of trying, medical appointments, treatments or procedures, negative pregnancy tests, pregnancy loss, moments of hope and disappointment, all the emotional and physical toll of the journey. Simply observe and experience without trying to change them. Send any distressful thoughts or feelings to the hara point for transformation and release. Continue breathing between the thymus and the hara until you feel peace and non-attachment regarding the entire fertility journey up to the present moment. Now we're going to move into the best case life scenario without a child. Keep breathing between the thymus center and the hara point. When you are ready, begin to imagine the most beautiful and fulfilling version of your life if a child never comes. Allow the image and images to form naturally. This might include deep partnership and intimacy, meaningful work and contributing to your community, travel and adventure, mentoring a younger generation, community and friendship, creative expression, spiritual growth and service, a life filled with purpose, joy, love, creativity, and freedom. Allow yourself to feel the peace, the richness, and the completeness of that life. Send any grief, fear, or resistance to the hara point for transformation and release. Continue breathing between the thymus and the hara until you feel a sense of peace and non-attachment regarding to the possibility of living a meaningful life without children. Now we're going to enter the worst case life scenario without a child. Keep breathing between the thymus center and the hara point. Now imagine the most difficult scenario of not having the family of your dreams. Allow the mind to show you the fears that may exist, the loneliness in older age, the regret, judgment from others, feeling left behind, the loss of identity of being a mother, sadness around family traditions, holidays, being excluded from your friends who do have children. Allow yourself to fully witness these fears. And know that you are loved and cared for and supported during this. Send all distressing thoughts and feelings to the hara point for transformation and release. Continue the breathing pattern, allowing the emotional charge to dissolve naturally. Imagine moving beyond the fear into a place where your life still holds value, connection, and meaning, even if this outcome were true. Continue until you feel peace and non-attachment regarding this worst-case scenario. This process may leave you with a sense of ongoingness and timelessness. Now we will make sure you are fully present in this time and place. Please say out loud with meaning and conviction, I know who I am as I co-create my reality moment by moment. Now I want you to remember that this is really emotional. I even always get really choked up when I do this balance, whether it is for birth and death or something new like this. So if there is a lot of heaviness after doing this meditation, please know that is normal. If there is heavy crying, heavy emotions, please make a note of that. The best thing for you to do is to not try to force it away. Take note of what has come up. These are our signs that we need to move through these things with grace and ease. Getting grounded. So if you can go outside in nature, take a salt bath, be really gentle with yourself. If this has brought up more emotion than you thought, then it's time to journal. It's time to do the balances that I talk so freely about, the whole brain connection, sitting with yourself and expressing your fears, your anger, your grief, your resentment. This is the way through. A lot of the time we avoid this because, as you might have felt, it is just so heavy. So if you shut the book after this meditation for a while, like, do not judge yourself, just give yourself time. This is a massive frequency balance. This is going to take you in a completely different path than you have been on, and it could feel a little bit bumpy. Just keep showing up for yourself in small ways. Remember, the mundane moments are where the magic happens. And obviously, you can reach out to me for more guidance and support if you feel like, hey, this made a massive difference, or this opened a can of worms and I would like some more guidance and support. The links are down below on how to connect with me. I really truly hope that this meditation, in the best ways possible, opens up just a different journey, a different path to motherhood, and gives you real opportunities to have true peace and true joy during this time. Take care of yourself, and we will see you next Friday for another episode of Finding Fertility.